Hello and welcome everyone to the Ascension Diaries YouTube channel. My name is Alexis and this is the show where we're going to be doing the Ascension weather first, and then we're going to be going into discussion on a few topics. Regarding the title of this video, I wanted to talk about the event and perhaps the fact that it may be happening or something along those lines is currently happening. And a few other extra fun topics. So stick around for the beginning here where we're going to actually do the Ascension weather report, and then we'll go into discussion after that. So for those of you who need to watch this and get on your way, I want to make the beginnings more about the weather and then go into discussion afterwards. So without further ado, I'm just going to switch over here to here, and we're going to talk about the Four of Cups, but we'll do that in a minute. So I just wanted to say this is relevant for everybody watching the show. If you need some help cleansing yourself and sort of getting your energies and yourself, in order, through the collective consciousness, through someone who I just discussed this with, she recommended Palo Santo wood, which is, I usually use sage, but I forgot how wonderful Palo Santo wood is. It's super inexpensive, and, it's the holy wood, okay? It is, great at energy cleansing, bringing creativity and good fortune, deeper connection. It's good for cleansing and physically healing yourself. It's just really great stuff. It looks like this. You just burn it, gives off some smoke. You can buy it in lots of those stores where you can buy, wherever you could buy sage, you can probably buy Palo Santo wood. You can buy it online too. You can easily look that up. So I just wanted to share that with you. Maybe an alternative method to help you out if you haven't tried it yet. But let's get into the Ascension weather, and let's talk about the Schumann resonance first, like we always do. Just in case you don't know, the Schumann resonance is the song of the earth. It's basically the electrical field that we are all walking and talking around in, and it's very, has a major effect on our bodies. So that's why we follow this. So let's look at what the readings have been in the past 24 hours. So again, around 4 a.m, we had a reading of an 89, which is, pretty crazy. So we have an 89 going on here. And then this was yesterday when I did the last broadcast. This was around like 3 or 4 in the afternoon yesterday, but no, it looks like it's in today. This is Russian, so it was into their next day. But anyways, yesterday, 3 or 4 PST in the afternoon, this went off, and we hit a level of 110. So if you missed it, I just wanted to let you know, last afternoon, you probably experienced some sort of extrasensory, information. Maybe it was some visuals, maybe you heard some ear ringing, maybe you felt it in your head, like you started getting a headache, maybe you started getting some soreness, maybe you had to take a nap. These are very common things to happen during these spikes, and I just wanted to cover the fact that we continually had spikes after that in the 70 range. So these are all different notes in the Schumann resonance song. So this note is the one, is 7.83, the Om. So some people know it. It's a very holy note, is the earth's major note, is the earth, like the note of creation, basically. And then there's the, along the what's that called? The key or whatever? No, I'm forgetting. I just don't have that music background, but these are the notes. They're mathematically in tune and like subsequently lower and lower, if that helps. But yeah, so we had more blasts in the 70s. So around 4 o'clock and then like 6 o'clock and then like 10 o'clock, we had another blast. And then, this morning, or I guess around the afternoon time. So this was around like 11 a.m. this morning. We had some more, information come through us, and it hit around, not as big. It was around a 38 reading. So still very interesting, very important. And this is, this is great. I'm curious to see what this is going to end up being, because this is some of the lowest amount of activity we've seen in the past few days. And that's, what I'm going to get into a little more after this. So if you want to stick around, by all means, you can join the conversation. This is the other graph. Let's look and see if there's anything going on here. Okay, so these background striations are still occurring, which is, loud. They're loud and proud. They're extremely obvious. For those of you who don't know, these tinier lines that are going up and down, these are not normal. These little ones that are obviously going at an incremented time in the background. Yes, so there's a lot of theories about what this could be. Most likely it's some sort of technology that's being implemented to perhaps try and drown out this natural energy we're getting in and these heightened abilities that we're supposed to be having just naturally through these heightened energies. It might be dulling us down, or it might be helping us deal with the waves coming in. It's kind of like a buffer. So it could be good, it could be bad, but it's happening. So at least so far, none of our heads are exploding. So I think it'll be okay. It might just be, to help people who aren't ready for this kind of energy. So to be fair to them too, we're all living on the same planet. Those of us who know what's going on and those of us who don't, we all deserve a fair chance. So I think that might be something to do with it. Someone's making decisions for us, basically. And hopefully they're brilliant scientists with good hearts. That's all I have to say. But we'll move on. So you can see that we had these big blasts. This was, it's the same graph as this graph. So you can sort of see them overlapping. And the links to this is below. So if you want to check yourself at any time, the links are below in the description. This is the actual note and what the note is. So this note should be around 7.83 on average. And then when we get these blasts coming in, we have this strange activity where the note actually changes to a different note. So, this one got to 8.80. It should be at 7.83. So it had a moment where it was at a higher frequency, a higher hertz rate. And that'll balance out in your brain waves. So we watch this just to make sure that all of a sudden the note doesn't change for like a few hours and, hang out at 8.80 when it's supposed to be at 7.83. Things like that. And just for future reference, when we have when they have these waves coming in, our brain waves adhere to the exact same frequency, basically. That's the whole importance of this thing. And so when it's 8.80, we get alpha waves instead of, 7.83, which is more in the theta range. So those are some examples. So let's move on to the heart math. Let's see what their data has to say. So the last data is the Russian data. This is the American data. That's stations all around the world, though. They only have the 6 stations that they report on. Russian stations, there's 224 of them, so it's interesting. Yesterday we had this this was not yesterday, the day before we had this major activity. This line is the South African line. This is our particular interest because it's constantly going off, for those of you who don't know. And this is all information from yesterday, and this is the sort of heat that was coming in with this. It's the amplitude, the volume of this song is what really we were watching for. So the volume gets louder and it starts to get hotter. These graphs sort of get hotter. So it's very interesting. The volume obviously went down comparatively since the 21st. And this is not the data that's been updated. Sometimes they update it. This is not today's data. So this is what yesterday looked like. Again, yesterday we had 110, and the heat overall doesn't really signify that. So it's very interesting. You'd think if we got 110, which is, we had 190 on the 19th. So 110, still huge. And it should be more indicative of that, in my opinion, on these graphs. So that's sort of the incoherence with this data. And that's why we're tracking it all, incoherence and everything, because it's still important. So just a little extra here. You can see that this is the data from today. You can see it says March 23rd on the little box. And South Africa, the GCI 006 at the bottom, hit a 218. And then a couple other places around the world hit over 100 as well today. So GCI 003 and GCI 005, which for future reference is, they're over here. 3 is Lithuania, 5 is Northern New Zealand. So there you go. So what I was given today was a lovely little extra fun new graph from my dear contact in South Africa. Much love to you. She gave me this, and it actually gave me the option to press lightning. And so I believe if I uncheck this, will that disappear? No. Okay, so they're expecting some rain in, but there shouldn't be that much electrical activity. And we watch the lightning because lightning is indicative, at least in the scientific papers we're allowed to read about the Schumann. It talks about the lightning causing the Schumann. So we watch the lightning in the most potent Schumann place, if that makes sense. So our highest readings on this graph, we check the lightning this day because it's, it would make sense that they're getting a buttload of lightning to have this sort of reading. And then if it's not a buttload of lightning, where is this energy coming from? And that's sort of where we're going with this. So ironically, I looked into South Africa and I realized that there's this country right here. This is a sovereign land, a country, and it's in the middle of South Africa. And then I did a little research about it, and I was getting this message about checking if it had any sort of UFO activity because it is surrounded by mountains and kind of an untouched, hard to reach place. And indeed, they did have some UFO activity on Wikipedia. So I checked Ancient Aliens to see if maybe they've talked about some sort of sites being there, but I'd be very curious to do some more research on that for those of us who love the secret space program and all that stuff. I thought that was a nice little tidbit. The country's called Lesotho, and I don't know if I'm saying that right because I've never been there or even really heard about it until just recently. So there you go. And so let's go into the solar weather because this is some stuff that's actually happening right now. It seems like the Schumann is dying down, but the solar weather is starting back up again. So we have the wind did its all-time low just a few, earlier, like last night. I think it went down and then it's starting to steadily climb again. It's still underneath the average, which is 400 kilometers per second. It's at 372.9 right now. We don't have any sunspots or anything to worry about. We don't have any major solar flares to worry about, but we are having some sort of geomagnetic storm due to a coronal hole. So there's some stuff shooting out of the sun at us, which is why we're getting aurora. This was shot last night. And so let's look further into the solar wind and see. Oh, this is my other one. I don't need to look at this one today. This darn thing won't load. I'm trying to make this. Yes, and suspicious observers talked about the solar wind today too. And also he spoke about the magnetic reversal. So that might be something you want to look into. You can find suspicious observers on YouTube if you want to subscribe to their channel. I watch their video every day, and I just do it because he's a lot better at reading and understanding the solar activity and all of the fun stuff that goes on. He does a lot more stuff with earthquakes and everything. This is annoying. But yeah, so he's also agreeing that there's some activity coming in, and you can see it here in the geomagnetics. So this is our geomagnetic sphere around the planet, basically buffering this energy coming in, and it's causing some disruption. So when we're in the yellow zone, things are usually fine. But when it starts getting into the red, that's when we really start having that's when it becomes a geomagnetic storm. And that's when some places, their electrical and things like that will start to get all kind of screwy. So we watch this because, we are also electrical beings. And when this is getting screwy, we get a little screwy. So it's possible that you're having a little bit of spinal your back is sort of sore today because we're getting some of this activity going on. And I find that since it's our major electrical area of our body, that's what usually tends to show when these readings are coming through. I start getting pain there, and it's like, it's just the way nature is. You just have to pay attention to it. So the final part of this, the data that I have that I can show you, I'm going to be going into the astrology really fast, and then a tarot card, and then we're going to go into discussion. And I'm going to start looking at the comments. I have not opened the comments, so I can actually get through this fast. But darn it, this isn't loading. Looks like it was in the yellow. My computer is having a moment. She is working too hard. I can hear the fan. But that's okay. Looks like the global consciousness dot. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so we are in the yellow range. So this would make a little bit of sense because of the current geomagnetics. Our electricity, therefore our global circuit, because all of our electricity connects to each other. So when the whole circuit is kind of getting buzzed, we get buzzed, and our coherence between each other is not as high. This is the current understanding of the science anyways. It makes a logical sense to me too, so it's easy for me to remember that. So I hope you enjoyed the data I delivered. I'm going to talk about the astrology right now, and then we will go into the tarot cards. So the first thing I want to say is I get my astrology information from the Future Life app with astrologer David Palmer. You should download the app if you want to get more in depth with this information. Super helpful. The astrology is a major impact, has a major impact on what our day-to-day is going to be like, what we're going to be motivated to do, and it's very global. So he was mentioning that the moon has gone into Gemini. We are currently in Mercury retrograde. It just started. And so the overall feel, he said, is that there are too many questions to figure out today. And this is extremely relevant to me because there's a ton of things, a lot of unknowns currently floating around with how I'm going to be proceeding in this next, few weeks of my life. And regarding movement, a lot of people in our community, the lightworker community, the conscious community, we're all being moved around, I'm noticing. And a friend of mine were having a discussion about this today. So that's why I'm bringing it up. But a lot of us are being moved around, and it's because the grid of the planet is basically changing, and we need to be in new areas to anchor in the light. And if that's going way over your head, that's okay. You can ask questions. I can talk about that later in the comments. But for now, I'm just going to keep moving and say, yes, there's too many questions to figure out right now. So don't panic, okay? Take your time this weekend. Tomorrow, I guess there's a big square happening. He didn't go into what square it was, and honestly, I don't really need to know that info because I'm just, the astrology stuff sometimes just really goes over my head. But the main point is take your time to process. This weekend is going to be a very big processing weekend. A lot of these, there's going to be emotional stuff coming up, probably. This is what he predicts anyways, and he's basically on the money every single time. That's why I use his info, because I've been testing it for so long and it works. So yes, don't worry. Don't panic on answering all these questions. Process the emotions. You're going to be forced to process this weekend. And a lot of the answers are just going to naturally start coming to you and start arriving. It's okay. Even if it takes the whole Mercury retrograde, which, isn't very long at all because Mercury moves around so quickly. It's okay. There's a lot of questions, but the answers are going to come, and have faith that they're going to come for you and you're going to be able to figure it out. So keep that strength through the emotional stuff this weekend. And the card I pulled today is the Four of Cups. And we just recently got this card, I feel like, unless I'm losing my mind and that's some other timeline. But this is the Four of Cups. And basically the Four of Cups means, there's a bit of boredom, there's a bit of complacency, and, don't be afraid to move forward. Don't let the fear of, this next part of your path and these unanswered questions cause you to just kind of collapse into yourself. It's okay to do that a little bit this weekend, I feel like, because, we're going to be processing a lot of emotions, but don't get stuck there. And yeah, this is some extra added information if you want to look it up further, but that's sort of the information I got about that. It's kind of like the cloud is literally handing a cup full of emotion to this person who doesn't seem to be experiencing much. So that could also be a thing where we're actually just being delivered emotion to experience this weekend. So very interesting. The readings and the astrology always seem to kind of commingle, which is why I keep doing them together. But this concludes the Ascension weather report, and thank you all for being here. You can go onto my Patreon, and you can see below the offers that they have. I'm offering multiple levels of donation. If you donate $5, I just started this. If you do $5, you get entered into the tarot lottery that I do on the channel, which is when I pull names out of a lovely vase, and the person I pull gets a free tarot reading from me. And if you do the $5 pledge, $5 or more pledge on Patreon, you get a permanent entry into the lottery, and it just increases your chances of getting a free reading, or at least a reading that costs only $5. And otherwise, if you want a free reading, you can always just share or retweet this video and let me know. I'll notice if you share it on from the Facebook page, so you don't have to worry about that, and the retweeting, of course. But yes, if you would like a tarot reading, you can also donate the $20 pledge, and I will do a free reading for you every single month. And it's just a service. I'm also opening up opportunity for sponsors for conscious businesses. The information again is in the links below the description. So I'm just going to quickly open up the chat and see what the heck y'all are talking about, because I haven't been watching, and I really hope the microphone's on. I've been watching. I know the microphone's on. I've been paying attention. We're getting into the more informal part of the show, where I get to show you a couple other things that I found since the last time I shot, and we can go from there. So first of all, let's go into, I just want to show you a couple more things regarding and this is sort of going to get me into the discussion about the event and the Ascension, because for those of you who've been following the event and all of the stuff that's been flooding in through a lot of people, just to name names, like Alison Coe was a big one, where she uses her QHHT hypnosis to discuss these events with people's higher selves and guards and guardians and things like that. More esoteric side, but it's through hypnosis, and it's a real technique, and it really, really works for a lot of people. It's extremely healing. So her data I really like, and I like the way she presents it. But she was saying that when this event is coming, and a lot of others are saying that there was going to be some sort of visuals going on. People were going to be seeing things in the sky. Maybe it would be like a rainbow smoke or other sort of effects off of the sun and in the sky, and it was going to be a visual with the physical and, interdimensional experience. And I'm like, okay, where are all of this energy is coming in? Literally the biggest blasts I've ever seen are coming in right now, just as they were saying all of this energy was going to be coming in at the end of March. And where are the visuals? And I'm like, okay, I need to see some. And I asked, and I received quite quickly. I actually saw a fake one the first time, a fake CGI'd, and I don't have it, but I'm convinced it's CGI, because I have an eye for these things. And the voices in the background didn't seem very concerned with the fact that there was this twisting, like, arc of light. It was insane. Like, it was obviously fake, but it was super cool. And so I was like, okay, Spirit, like you want to give me this interesting sign. And then today my mom, oh, we get to watch an ad. I don't want to watch an ad. I'm just going to distract you guys with my face while the ad's playing, because I'm not getting any money for this. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But National Geographic ad, I don't know. Anyways, so basically, this is a long ad. What the heck? Thank you. Oh, and then that's what I get for dissing their ad. That's actually hilarious. Okay, am I going to be able to show this to you in another sense? Yes, I can. Okay, so my mom, that's actually hilarious. So my mom sent me this today, and this is over Kelowna, BC, Canada. So for those of you who are Canadian watching this show, you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Kelowna is a beautiful area. I want to move out there. But anyways, there was this phenomena that happened, and I wanted to show you because it's this interesting sunset that occurred. And they even spoke about how the locals were quite shocked at this phenomena. And that's sort of what, tipped me off, because you're like, okay, well, maybe this is a common occurrence due to the geography. And that's what they said in the report, was like, oh, it's just the geography causing this effect. And it probably is. But I thought this was very interesting and a synchronicity for me. So, there's maybe more of these visuals going on. I've noticed when these energies come in, a lot more rainbows and things are seen around the sun. So I was just curious to go with the theory that this event is like a mini event, and these are just ripples, and we just rode through a ripple of this event that's already happening. It's just, it's not all happening at once. It is and it isn't. It's all quantum. We're just seeing it in this slow-mo 3D version of itself. But it's all coming at us, and I truly do believe that we went through a preliminary larger wave, and this is why there's so many questions and stuff coming up for people, and why everyone's path just got shaken up, and people are being relocated, and things are happening and moving. And of course it's springtime, and that's what's happening. But the divine timing of it all, it really all is the same. It's all for the same thing. It's all a very natural process too, so the timing of it all would make sense. And another thing I noticed, when these big blasts come in, it commonly happens on the weekends. I've always noticed that, and I'm like, okay, well, it's divinely maybe coming in on the weekends, because that's when most of the planet has the day off, and they actually get to process these things. Because when these energies came in, and I still worked in an office, and a lot of my friends who still work in offices, they can barely function because, we're processing a lot of energy, and we're doing it because we are strong enough. But it's hard to do that when you're sitting at a desk trying to crunch numbers, or, stay up through 8 hours in a day. Sometimes, we crash nap. But I went on a bit of a tangent there. But, I do believe that it's currently happening. We already went through a wave of ascension, and we are now rearranging, and the whole 3D matrix is rearranging. All of our lives are rearranging, and we're going to be plowing into the next step. And when we all arrive there, at least generally, when all of these questions become answered and we all sort of arrive in our new place, more energy is probably going to come in. So it's kind of interesting to see how long that's going to take. The reassembly is going to take, how we have this, it's almost like we really do have this new place that we're going to walk into and start building new things, and all these questions are going to start answering themselves. And it just, I know it's not as epic as some of us may have hoped, but this is definitely, this is definitely a change. We have definitely experienced a change, and now we're just going to start seeing how that's going to unpack itself. And it looks like we're going to be unpacking some emotional stuff right away here, which is, a lot of us have already been doing that since the 19th, including myself. So maybe more of the collective is going to be doing that. I'm sure we will be too. I don't know. I guess I'll check back in and either I'm crying or elated, but there's a range of emotion we could be experiencing. I'm curious what it's going to be like tomorrow. And I'm just looking into the comments right now. There's so many people here. Everybody's in the one time I'm not reading the comments. Hey everybody, how you doing? Hey Robbie. Nice to see you. But yeah, so that's sort of what I wanted to get into, and I'm curious if you agree, because Zara and I were talking about this last night and we were both like, yeah, there's something going on. I also wanted to direct your attention to this article that I've noticed it's everywhere. I just got shared everywhere. And again, my mom sent me this too. So this says currently 78,000 likes. I don't know if this is her personal profile. I can't tell how much traffic this is getting, but it's great because I intuitively, knew that this article was awesome because it's talking again about how these solar storms are causing they're causing ailments in people. They're causing effects in people. They're causing effects in society. And it's really, really great. Like this huge list of stuff that could be happening because of this solar activity. And there's equinoxes and all this fun stuff. It's just so awesome to see that there's more articles and stuff like this coming out. And I was just a big thrill for me. I'm sure a lot of you saw this. It was all over Facebook, but I'm just wanted to give it a shout out and a thank you for existing, because I feel like this is going to help wake up a lot of people, because it's time for another big wave of people to be coming into the community, because the energies are just amping up, and it's just going to be bringing in more people. So that's that. And for the rest of the show, I guess I wanted to discuss really fast, for those of you who've noticed, the channel and the stream and all the work I've been doing has been incrementally expanding, and I work on it every single day. I'm not kidding. I've been working on this every day, and I'm currently getting the message that I'm going to be starting to broadcast not only on YouTube but on Twitch. For those of you who are familiar with Twitch, I literally just watched Twitch for the first time last night, because I have a particular YouTubers that they also do Twitch now and are having a really good time, and I watched one of their things, and I got to figure out basically how to make what I'm doing right now Twitch friendly, and then that's where a ton of people are, especially young people and tech savvy people, and they're all just watching people play video games for the most part. And I'm not planning on playing video games when I stream. I'm planning on doing this exact thing in leeching and bleeding and spreading. I know I am using gross terms. Actually, I'm illuminating Twitch and the audience and the huge area, the cache of people and consciousness that's there, basically untouched. And if anyone has any advice for me regarding Twitch, please reach out to me, email me, let me know. The video game thing, I used to love video games, to be honest with you, back when I was in high school, and I spent a lot of time on there, because it's almost like this little 4D area, this virtual reality, this virtual space that all of these people are living in, and they have a community, and they have people they see every night, and they stream for hours and hours, and it's crazy that it's basically just this ground, this safe space for these people who don't have anywhere to go, but they have so much creative power and potential and so much community and love for each other. And it's a lot of people in my demographic, and I want to reach them, because I think, is it bad for me to think that they would benefit from this, that I don't know, that maybe the area sort of needs something like me or something like you. I'm not saying it has to be me, but this is the message I keep getting. And I also am not sure if I want to name it Ascension Diaries as well, or if I want to use my my tag Live in 5D as the channel name. I'm not really sure, because I don't want to cause any, I don't want to cause too much disruption and, confuse too many people, but I also don't want to lose what I'm doing. So I'm this is the whole thing. I have a lot of questions floating around, and they're all going to reveal themselves, but I wanted to see, I just wanted to see what you guys had to say about that. And if anyone has any tips or tidbits for me, that would be great. If anyone's a Twitch master and wants to help me set it up, because I'm just watching YouTube videos right now and figuring it out, because that's how I've been doing everything. It's been working, but yeah, I just wanted to update you guys with that. And you guys are giving me some good advice in the comments. I appreciate that. I'm going to look through these. It says, need some admins for the trolls. Yeah, that's another thing. It's very interesting, because the way that I've created this channel is I've only made it available really in the communities who are conscious and kind enough to basically handle it. That's how I've created the community around me that I trust and I feel safe in. But in this whole platform, it's a whole new thing. But I know it's only going to attract people who can even handle what I'm delivering. So I'm not too worried, because so far it's been so good. And, maybe someone will help me mod. Who knows? If someone wants to help me out, they'll probably show up. So it'll be good. Yes, sometimes I have to upset the apple cart. That's very true. I'm willing to shake things up. People who are sitting there watching video games for hours and hours and hours, they just need a friend. And who doesn't want to learn about the Schumann resonance? Obviously, everybody is a nerd like me. Yes, this is true. Thank you, Robbie. I appreciate that. Shine with no expectations. What else did I want to mention? So I think that's everything for me. Thank you very much for coming to the live stream. I am broadcasting on more of a schedule right now because I have the ability to do that. And so look out for, the next show. I'm going to schedule it probably. We'll see. I'll give 12-hour notice maybe, and it'll show up in the subscriptions area of your channels and stuff on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. So you'll be able to make a alert for when the actual thing goes live. It should work. Otherwise, you can just put the alerts on for the channel if you want to see the feed. And then who knows, soon I'll be on Twitch too. So it's just nonstop. I feel like I'm getting it, and then it's just all the new stuff starts coming in, and I'm making new graphics, and I'm just gonna be up all night. I know it, making stuff in Photoshop and doing things. But whatever. I'm loving it, so it's fine. But yeah, I think that's gonna be everything. If anyone has any questions, please, I'm giving you 10 seconds to put them into the comments. Otherwise, I'm gonna go, and we can all enjoy our emotional weekends, and you can meet up with all your friends and tell them how the energies are coming in, the ascension waves are coming in, the Schumann resonance is blasting off, ascension is here, it's happening, just, all the regular conversational things that we talk about with our friends. But yeah, much love. Yep, that's right. Cool. Well, I'm gonna head out. I love you all very, very much. Again, if you want to help the stream, and I would really appreciate it, you can support it through Patreon. The links are below. Otherwise, you can just share this for free, and then you get entered into a free draw for a free tarot reading, because I just want to give stuff away for free all the time. And, I'm sort of integrating a way to sort of help support how much it costs to run a show like this and, feed myself and things like that. So I appreciate it a lot. And I'm just reading the comments. Thanks, you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything. I love you very much. And I will see you very soon.